The first year of Clara's marriage felt like answered prayers. Everything she had once struggled for was gradually falling into place. Her fashion business was growing beyond her expectations, and Emmanuel, he still treated her like the most important woman in the world. Every morning, he would whisper softly, "Take care of yourself," before leaving. Every night, they would sit together, sharing stories, laughter, and dreams. And in all those dreams, there was always a child. At first, it was just a light conversation. One evening, as they lay in bed, Emmanuel turned to her with a small smile. "So, when are we expecting our first baby?" Clara smiled shyly. "God's time is the best." He nodded. "Of course. No pressure." And truly, there was no pressure, not yet. But time has a way of changing things. 6 months passed. Then 1 year. No pregnancy. The questions started coming in quietly, like whispers carried by the wind. "Any good news? You people should give us something to celebrate." Clara would smile politely and say, "Very soon." But deep inside, she had started to worry. The real storm began the day they visited Emmanuel's family. Clara dressed carefully that morning, hoping to look respectful and presentable. She greeted everyone warmly, but something felt off. The looks. The murmurs. The silence that followed her movements. Then, during lunch, Emmanuel's mother spoke. "Clara," he called. "Yes, Ma," Clara responded. The older woman adjusted her wrapper and looked straight at her. "When will you give this family a child?" The question dropped like a stone in a still river. Clara forced a smile. "Very soon, Ma. We are trusting God." His mother gave a faint, knowing laugh. God is not the only one involved. Clara didn't fully understand, but her heart felt uneasy. On their way home, Clara was unusually quiet. Emmanuel noticed. "Don't mind her," he said casually. "She talks too much." Clara nodded, but something had already shifted inside her. That day marked the beginning of a silent pressure that would soon become unbearable. Soon, it wasn't just his mother. Relatives began to call more often. Neighbors started making comments. Even customers at her shop began asking questions that felt too personal. "Madam Clara, no baby yet. You're too focused on work. Oh, go and rest and give your husband a child." Each word chipped away at her peace. After 2 years of waiting, Clara could no longer ignore it. One evening, she sat beside Emmanuel and spoke carefully. "I think we should go to the hospital, just to check." Emmanuel looked at her, slightly irritated. "Check what exactly?" "Everything," she said softly. "Let's just be sure." After some hesitation, he agreed. The hospital visit was supposed to bring clarity. Instead, it brought tension. They ran several tests. Days later, the results came. Clara sat nervously as the doctor spoke. "Mrs. Clara, from our findings, there is no issue from your side. You are medically fine." For a moment, relief washed over her. But that relief didn't last long. Because the doctor continued. "We'll need to run further tests for your husband as well." Clara slowly turned to Emmanuel. But his face had already hardened. On their way home, the silence in the car was heavy. "Emmanuel," Clara said gently, "it's just a test. Let's complete it." "I'm fine," he replied sharply. "It's not about being fine." "I said I'm fine," he snapped. Clara went quiet. That wasn't the man she married. Days turned into weeks. Emmanuel refused to go back for any test. Every time Clara mentioned it, he shut her down. "You're overthinking. Stop disturbing me. Everything will happen at the right time." But deep down, Clara knew something wasn't right. Slowly, their home began to change. The laughter reduced. The conversations became shorter. The warmth between them began to fade. Then came the blame. At first, it came disguised as concern. You're always busy with work. Maybe stress is affecting you. Clara tried everything. She prayed. She fasted. She visited different churches. She followed every advice given to her. But nothing changed. Until one night, everything broke. It started as a small argument. But it quickly turned into something deeper. "I'm tired, Clara," Emmanuel shouted. "Every time it's baby this, baby that. Is that all you think about?" Clara's voice trembled. "I'm doing this for us, for our future." "Our future," he scoffed. "Or your desperation?" Those words cut deep. Then came the moment that shattered her completely. "Maybe the problem is you," he yelled. "Maybe you're just barren." Silence filled the room. Clara stood still, her world crashing around her. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Emmanuel," she whispered, "how can you say that to me?" But he had already turned away. That night, Clara cried like never before. Not just because she didn't have a child, but because the man who once loved her deeply had started to see her as a problem. Moral lesson. Childlessness is not a woman's burden alone. It is a shared journey that requires patience, understanding, and unity. When love turns into blame, the foundation of marriage begins to crack. True partnership means standing together, especially when life doesn't go as planned. Clara didn't know it yet. But the worst was still ahead. Because very soon, Emmanuel would make a decision that would shake her world beyond repair. To be continued.